loop. We spoke about having the triple eight framework in your life. Let's go to some practical tips because what gets measured gets managed. And if we want to manage our time, ding, 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 we have to measure our time. So I have all the practical tips here. So the first one is to get a timer. What I did during Cape is that I would use the stopwatch on my watch. I had a nice little Casio watch. It's pretty cheap Casio watch, nothing too crazy. It could be a G-Shock, whatever it is. Could be an Apple Watch too. I don't necessarily like the idea of the Apple Watch because you can get phone notifications of it on it, so it could be a bit more distracting. I definitely recommend like a basic Casio watch. So I would use the watch and start the stopwatch whenever I was doing work. And I would just work until my brain got tired or if something interrupted me. But every time I stopped doing work, I would just stop the timer. I would pause it. And whenever I started again, I would just continue the stopwatch. And this allowed me to track how many hours I was studying daily. And it also kind of made it like a game. It gamified studying. So sometimes I'd wake up and do 20 minutes a week before I got ready for school. And then at lunch, I'd do like 30 minutes a week. And because I always had the time on my wrist, I always had a mental note of how much work I was putting in. So at the end of the day, I would know whether or not I was hitting my target or if I was falling behind. It's kind of like racking up points. Like throughout the day, you just rack up points. You sit down for like 45 minutes, you just racked up 45 points. You sit down for another hour, you just racked up, an entire hour of points or 60 minutes of points, So every day, I would just aim for a higher score, get the same score higher. So you either always sustaining the level of studying or the level of work you have, or you're always superseding it. I would never allow myself to fall below the score that I would get the day before. So having the timer and the stopwatch kind of gamified things slightly. Next thing I would do, I still do this to this day, is I would get a small book and I would write out a to-do list. A small book because you want to be able to carry it around so you could always look at it. You don't want to have like a big notebook. You just get like a small little to-do list book, little notepad, I guess you'd call it. And there was this research conducted by Dr. Gail Matthews, which revealed that individuals who wrote their goals down were 42% more likely to achieve them compared to those who didn't write them down. So just think about that. By simply getting a notebook and writing down your goals, you have a 42% higher chance of achieving it. This isn't like some, esoterical thing. This is just research. Why would you not get a notepad and write your goals down if it increases your chance of achieving it by 42%? That's almost 50% chance of you achieving your goals. So I highly recommend this one. I still do this to this day. So the next thing is, when I write my to-dos down, my to-do list, it was a non-negotiable. So whatever I wrote down, I had to do it. I never allowed myself to not do something I wrote down. And a little tip is, if you think you wouldn't do it, don't write it down. Because then you're reinforcing to yourself that the to-do list isn't a non-negotiable. It has to be a non-negotiable. It has to be set in your brain that once I write this down, this is what is going to be done. And writing it the night before is very important as well, because it gives you a certain level of drive and enthusiasm for the day ahead. Because I would wake up with a purpose, as I had a list of things that I knew I had to do. So before I go to bed, I was like, okay, so when I wake up, I have to do this, 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 this. It's like you wake up and you have a purpose to your day, So that really helped me. A next habit that I would do with the writing, the to-do list, would be that if in the rare occasions that I wasn't able to do what I wrote down, I would transfer it to the next day of to-do list. So it's still a non-negotiable. It's still a matter of, once I write this down, it has to be done. So let's say, life happens, something happened, your parents' car shut down, you end up reaching home late, or you had a long night, you stayed up on the phone with your friend the night before a little longer than usual, so your sleep wasn't as good, you came home, you take a nap, you end up oversleeping, like you wake up at like 9 p.m, it's like, yo, what time is it? And you missed out like 2-3 hours of work. It's very easy to just transfer to the next day. Don't say, I guess I can't do it anymore. It's like, no, you can still do it. You just have to allocate more time the following day. So I would say always transfer to-do lists to the other day if you are not able to do it on the day you set out to do it. So this one is fairly simple. So say no to anything and everything that isn't work or a form of relaxation for you to recharge in order for you to do more work. You could always say yes later on, or after you sat down and decided, yeah, I probably want to do this. But don't be a yes man. Keep your calendar empty. Remember, increase via reduction. Not everything deserves your energy. If it doesn't contribute to your goal, it's a distraction. Say no to everything. Worst case scenario, you just say yes later on. Worst case scenario, you just studied and then you do better in exams. That's the worst thing that could happen. It sounds extreme, but it's for a short period of time. You have to sacrifice these trivial things for a couple years and you get the glory of success forever. Look at my situation, for example. I sacrificed a lot during my 2 years of Cape, but I still reap the benefits of doing so well in Cape 4, 5, 6 years after. Whatever decision you make, there's a sacrifice attached to it. If you decide to go out instead of studying, there's a sacrifice. If you decide to stay home and study and not go out, there's a sacrifice. If you don't sacrifice the trivial things for your goals become the sacrifice for the trivial things. I would also say create a schedule. That's pretty simple. Wake up at this time, study at this time, go to bed at this time. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. You can go to any website and create a free schedule for yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it just brings a certain level of order and time management to your day. Like, all right, in the morning time, I'll probably do like 1 hour work, then go to school. School is school. Lunchtime, I'll probably do like 30 minutes of work. Then after school, when I get home, I'll do this at this time, I'll do this at this time. It just brings some level of discipline and structure. It's similar to writing the to-do list. Because you have an exact time in your mind, it's just, I think it increases the likelihood of you doing it. So the last one is to adopt a mindfulness practice. And this could be meditation, yoga, or breathwork. And I have a little asterisk there because in the later mentorship lectures, I'll definitely be touching on mindfulness. So during Cape, I adopted meditation as a daily non-negotiable. And to this day, I try my best not to miss it. I meditated right before I recorded this lecture, actually. It's been scientifically proven that meditation increases gray matter density in the brain. It improves focus. It reduces stress and anxiety. I mean, it's like if I told you, bro, there's this pill, I can give it to you. It increases gray matter density, improves focus, reduces stress and anxiety. Would you take it? No side effects. You'd be like, yeah, bro, give me that. And for me personally, it just brings a level of focus and calmness. And for some reason, you just feel like you have more time throughout the day. Like even if I meditate for 30 minutes, I feel like I just get back like an hour of my day because I guess I'm just more clear. And it makes the boring work easier. I don't know what it is. Just try it out for like a week or 2 weeks, like do like 10 to 15 minutes a day. And I promise you, you'll feel a change in your work. The main thing as usual is just being consistent, as I said. You have to create a feedback loop so that you're able to sustain it over a long period of time. That's when you really get the benefits. So I really just harped on meditation there. Breath work and yoga has the same effects. I don't do it. I don't necessarily do yoga. I will do breath work occasionally. I would do the Wim Hof method. You could YouTube that, check out the Wim Hof method. I would do that sometimes before exams, but because I consistently meditated every day, I didn't feel the need to do anything else. But there'll definitely be a future lecture on this. I tried to make this lecture as quick and as concise as possible. I hope I made my points clearly, and I'll see you in the next mentorship lecture video. Blessings.